Hello, hello.
Hey, hey,
We
y'all.
are we are back.
We are here.
Welcome to Mommy's podcast.
Welcome. We've been out a couple of weeks. The kids were out of school, and I had a field trip. Y'all, if I'm being honest, I didn't even get to go on the field trip because they went to this like agriculture thing, and the teacher was like, "You won't even be able to be with your daughter. Are you sure you want to go?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not sure that I want to pay and not be with her." So they had a field trip, um, and back to school. And I think your kids were out too, Nisha, right?
Yeah, they were out. They were out for the entire week.
Help, help, help. Okay. Anyways, so we're here today. We're talking about escapism, and we're talking about escapism is basically where you're not living in your reality, and that is something that I feel like we do a lot in our society. We're very guilty of that here with Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I guess I'm not good. I'm not a social media junkie. I don't have that problem. But anyways, we're talking about those things, and I'm going to talk about my engagement. I know I promised y'all a video on that, so I will talk about it. The proposal was nothing special. Like seriously, it was just like,
Hey.
hey, girl. That was it. But I do want to share my story. I do want to share the journey that we have been on trying to get to this on the road called Damascus to marriage. Okay, like which is it's a lot. It's a lot. So, anyways, escapism. We're going to talk about some ways to not let anxiety and fear and rejection and procrastination and perfection keep you out of your reality. And we're going to let Nisha lead.
Yes. So, just to kind of recap like what escapism is like a coping mechanism when, you know, you y- you hear the term daydreaming, fantasizing, with thoughts in your head, and it's like a way to, make yourself feel good. It's a way of entertaining yourself, and a way to pretty much escape your reality. So
Right.
a lot of times we find ourselves doing that even when we are, thinking of ideas of things we want, like our goals. Because that's step one of manifesting your goals is you have to think about them. They start as ideas in our minds. They start as inspiration. They start as these really feel good thoughts that we have. And we can end up getting stuck there if all we do is just think about it and not do the manifestation part, which is the action part, which is bringing it from the thoughts and ideas in our minds, bringing it actually into the world. And, we were talking about a couple ways that keep us from doing that is, having the fear of rejection. We have this idea that, we think is really good and we want to put it out there, but we are afraid that it's not going to be received well by
Right.
everyone else. So, we fear, being, embarrassed or, or rejected is that fear of not being accepted that can keep you from moving forward and
Yeah.
manifesting your goals and your dreams. Um, especially with, I know Stephanie, you talked about with right now with social media and everything, how
Yeah.
it's a mean people on the internet at
It
times.
is. They rude.
They're just
Okay.
so they rude, they
No home
grumpy,
training.
right? They're just unhappy with themselves.
Happy.
And if you put something out there that's great, they are just
They're gonna
mad.
tear it
They're
to pieces.
they're in their feelings, they're haters. And, and sometimes we fear that, or if you do put yourself out there thinking, you're like, okay, I'm doing this thing, like I'm happy, da 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 da. And then, you're getting these great comments, and then that one person comes along and says something negative, and, you're just like, well, shit. I'm not doing this anymore.
Right, but there's a such thing as constructive criticism. You know when
Mm.
somebody's coming for your throat, your jugular, and you also know
Mhm.
when somebody is out of love. There's two different things, and you should be able to discern the difference between the two. And I think we talked about discernment on one of our podcasts, just being able to kind of hone in and discern: are they coming for your throat, or are they
Mhm.
trying to help you? Everybody's not a hater, but if you don't have no haters, you ain't doing nothing.
Right. Exactly. Facts. Those are
Right.
facts. Yes.
Yes. Okay. So to speak on escapism and trying to escape the reality of whatever you're going through, of whatever I hold my head up in the air. Sorry, y'all. I
I
have
know,
to
like, I'm bobbing on around like
I'm sorry. Okay, y'all, I'm getting used to this. Okay, bear with me. Bear
Mhm.
with me. So anyway, escapism is just like a place where you create. You're trying to get away from your reality, and what me and Nisha want you to do, we want you to hone in. We want you to take a hold of whatever you're feeling and grab it by the horns and defeat it. Is what we're asking. We're asking you to defeat it and manifest the dreams. Don't just be an Instagram, and I hate Facebook and Instagram because all you see is one part of the story. You don't
Mhm.
see that people struggle. You don't see that it took me 6 years to get engaged, and that we've struggled and been through a lot. I broke up with him 20 times, You don't
Mhm.
see that on Facebook. What you see is that I got an engagement ring now and that we're set to be married. You
Mhm.
didn't see all the background work that it took. And that's what I hate
Right.
about Facebook and
And that's
Instagram.
that comparison, like comparing
Yes.
yourself, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yes.
scrolling through Instagram and everyone's showing like their picture perfect life,
Right.
they're on this, elaborate vacation and,
Right.
these white sands and stuff like that, but they're not showing you that 12 cent in their bank account. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't compare yourself to
Yeah.
people that are on the internet, and it's just
It's not
because you see one
realistic.
side of the story. It's just, it's
Right.
not realistic. Now, it's one thing to, look at those things and become inspired by it. That's
Yes.
great. You know what
Yes.
I mean? But don't compare yourself to feel like, oh, well, I can't do that because, I can't do it the way that they did it or they
It's
did
not
it
it's
better.
not meant for you to.
Right, exactly. Like, that's one way to get yourself stuck in just fantasizing about what it is that you want to do versus actually doing it, you know? So
I think,
yeah, and then we talked about writing, like writing your stuff
write it
down, right?
down, yeah.
You
So,
know?
casting the vision and writing
Mhm,
it down, I think let's transition to vision first. So, you gotta have
mhm,
a vision to write down.
mhm,
So the first thing is casting the vision for yourself. Where do you see yourself? What do you want? Do you wanna be an entrepreneur? Do you wanna be It's not a game, okay? You wanna be a nurse? I think I'm trying to go personal so that it will be more relatable. Do you want to be a mother of 5 kids or do you want 2 kids? Do you want several degrees or do you want 1 degree? Do you want no degrees? Like, what do you want is the first thing, and that is AKA vision. What do you see yourself? What is in your belly that
mhm,
is like, what am I here? What am I meant to do? And if you don't know, it's usually the thing you hate. 9
mhm.
times out of 10, if you hate it and it bothers you, that's it right there. Hone in on that because that's
Mhm.
what you probably are called and meant to do.
Right, definitely. Yeah. And I agree with you. Like, definitely dive deep into yourself to try to figure out what it is you like to do. Or
Yeah.
even the opposite of that. Like sometimes there's things that you just gravitate towards, like things
Yeah.
that,
Natural.
you wake up in the morning thinking about it and and those are things that you want to do as long as they are healthy things. Now, sometimes the
Yeah.
bad things, the bad habits, those things that, of course they're going to call us. Of course we're going to like go towards those things, more quickly. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if you have something that you love to do, like if you love to, I don't know, paint, you know what I mean? You just love to draw and stuff, you know what I mean? And
Share your talent with
you
us.
have these visions of being like this multi-million dollar artist, you know what I mean? But all of your drawings are stuffed away. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Or
How? How you gonna get
those
there?
ideas of, those images that you are dreaming about in your dreams, you haven't transcribed them onto paper. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like do that, bring it out to the world.
Yeah.
Don't have that fear that, someone's gonna look at your drawings and reject it. You know what I mean? Don't fear that, because if it comes from your mind, it's pure. You know what I mean? Like it came from somewhere of value. You know what I mean? And if one
Yes and
person
no.
doesn't see the value in it, there is someone out there that will see value in it. There are, I don't know how many billions of people on this planet. You know what I mean? So don't just
And
think
it's your
about that one
unique
rejection.
touch. Yeah,
Mhm.
that one rejection, you're gonna get rejected. Everybody's not.
Right.
Jesus was rejected. He walked the streets and they didn't even know he's the whole Messiah out here in these streets.
Mhm.
What you think? What's gonna happen for you, baby? What? We gonna get rejected. That's good. It's normal. It
Mhm.
builds character, or it's meant to be. It's not meant to break you. And I'm
Mhm.
speaking from a place where, the podcast is that for us. We are having to be open with you guys. We're having to not care what people think or what they think we should be doing, and that's a difficult place to be in,
Mhm.
because there's nothing like a couple of likes on Instagram to let you know you're on the right page.
Right.
So like, subscribe, and share, okay?
Exactly.
So we
Yes.
can get a little confirmation for what we're doing, okay? But we're speaking about we're speaking about the
Right.
haters in this
Yeah.
particular, don't let the rejection, don't let the fear
Mhm.
of someone not liking you keep you from those people you are meant to help. Because what about those 3 people or those millions of people that love the podcast or that love what we're doing? And then you got, of course, those 500 that might feel like, but out of a
Mhm.
million, if you get a
Right.
million people to like what you're doing and 500 don't,
Like, who cares?
who
Right.
cares? Who cares? So if you come out of that place, if you come out of that deep, dark, it's really dark, honestly, dark, anxiety inducing place of
Mhm.
escapism, where you are feeling like you can't do what you're set out to do, start by writing it down. What
Yes.
do you want to do? Let's write it down. Here's an envelope for some
Mhm.
dreams and some little goals and things that come to mind, even while we're talking on the podcast.
Mhm.
Write it down. You're
Right.
40% more likely to do it if you write it down.
Mhm.
And we're going to perfection and procrastination. Those are another
Mhm.
things that kind of
Right.
go hand in hand with writing it down.
Mhm.
James Clear, Atomic Habits by James Clear. He writes a book and it talks about his the intentionality that you should have. Is that a word? It sounded
Mhm.
good.
It is. That's
Okay, it sounded
very
good.
eloquent.
Yes.
Get out the Webster dictionary. This girl is on fire.
So crazy. Okay. So be intentional. Let me come back down, girl. I don't know where I got that word from. Okay. I really don't. I never used it before. I don't think I used it in my whole life. Okay. So be intentional about, okay. So he talks about being intentional. He talks about, okay, once you do the first step, you write it down. The second step is when or to prevent procrastination or overthinking. Let's write down, when are we going to do this? So on Monday at 10 o'clock on February 28th, I am going to write my goals. I am going to spend an hour casting my vision and letting God know where my expectation is and where do I want to go to manifest my dreams. We're not scrolling on TikTok. You scroll on TikTok for 45 minutes. Give that time back to yourself. Give that time back
Mhm.
to God so that you can manifest the life and not just be scrolling hating on Instagram. You are the one they hating on. Let's be that one. Be the one that they're hating on Instagram.
Mhm.
Give that time back to yourself. TikTok is funny. And sometimes I'm at work and I'm tripping out. I'm like, these people are hilarious.
Mhm.
But what's not hilarious is when the bills are due and you haven't fulfilled purpose and you can't sleep at night because it's a dark place. You go home to a dark place and you haven't created a home and a mental space that you can enjoy.
Mhm.
That's what's more
Right.
alarming. Okay.
And then
So
too,
let's,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, that's it.
Oh,
Go ahead.
okay. I was just gonna add in there too is that, when you get overwhelmed a lot, we talked about overwhelmed and anxiety and things like that. When you just have so much on your plate. You don't know where to start, and your mind is like racing a mile a minute. Everything is like jumbled up in there. Like that is the like ultimate recipe for escapism, because it's just like, you know
Yes.
what? Like I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. So I'm just going to back away and just fantasize that I got it all together. I'm just gonna envision myself having it
Yes.
all together, but not
Mhm.
do those steps. And we talked about, like you said, writing things down,
Write it
organize
down.
yourself. You know what I mean? Like if you take the time to organize, there's a saying, every minute spent organizing, you gain an hour. So for 1 minute that you organize, you've gained an hour in your
Mm.
time. And that is so real. I'm the organized junkie. Like I have to have things organized, because if things are out of place and chaotic, like
And chaotic.
I'm just like, I
It
can't.
shows. It
Yeah.
shows. It
Like I
does.
I have to keep myself organized. Like I have to, I figured out, for me to be able to be as efficient as I can, I set up systems, just for instance, paying bills. Like I used to be the worst at paying bills. Like it wasn't because, I didn't have the money for it. It would be because I would lose track of the days. I wouldn't know when what bill was due what, and then a month will go by, and then this next bill come and it's like overdue, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't pay that. Like, oh my gosh. And then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna pay that, tomorrow. And then the next month come by and they're like, we gonna disconnect some stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is like
Right,
too much. Like, okay,
right.
I've got to get myself together. So
And that tomorrow turns into the next and the next day. So
right,
let
and
me
the
let me
next
just
next,
say,
yeah.
this is the point where you insert tomorrow at 11 a.m. I will
Hmm.
pay the bill. This is
Okay.
where you insert that atomic habits moment and say, this is what I do. So I don't,
So you don't
y'all.
do
Yes, so,
that.
and I am guilty because that water bill catch me off guard every time. I'm like, no, I paid it.
Be like, "Didn't I
No.
just pay that? Like, it's another
But
month already?"
tomorrow, yes, it's another month. But tomorrow and the next tomorrow and the next tomorrow came and went.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
And so, like, and I just, like, tell, like, what I did to, like, help with that. So, with the organizing, like, I have this printout that I found on the internet somewhere, and it's literally just a bill checklist.
right,
And, at the top, it has January through, uh, December, and then on the side, like, that's where I write all my bills that I have due, and then I write the number of the day of the month it's due. So like the mortgage is on the 1st, of course, and then you got the 7th, the 15th, and the 27th. So I write all that down, and then
right,
as soon as I pay each of those bills, I check it off. So then that
right,
way I have something like tangible in front of me, so I can go and look and be like, did I pay my phone bill this month? So let me go back and look. And if I don't see a check there, then I need to go and look at the account and see, like, okay, I didn't check it off, so I didn't pay it. So let me go ahead and let me take care of it right now.
right now.
And
Yeah,
so now I get to the point now to where, I'm better with my budget. So that way when the first of the month comes, I just go ahead and pay all my bills. So I just check, 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 check all the way down. So then that way it's taken care of. So it's just doing that's part of manifestation,
it
putting
is.
action to those ideas, because
Yes.
just keeping it all in your head is like it can be a lot. It can be a lot, and
It is a lot. It's a lot
and
going on up there,
it
between
is.
3 kids and a husband and a
Mhm.
dog. Like, what in the where am I?
Right.
And full time, like
Right,
in the grocery store, in the bathroom, y'all. Never mind.
Mhm.
So it's all it's I go in my kid's bathroom and I'm like, who's been using it up here? It's
Right.
upstairs. I'm like,
Girl,
how
the
do we
kids'
live like this?
bathroom is always like an atomic mess. Like I don't go in there like unless I just absolutely have to.
They're
Like
rude. They don't put no respect on our name. Okay. No respect. I'm like, y'all asked me to play okay, I know we're kind of off topic, but I'm saying those are the type of things that are going through our head. You
Yeah,
know, the bathroom they don't put no respect on our name,
they don't.
Keisha.
They
Like
don't.
these are things that are going through your head. You're gonna forget to pay the bill. You're gonna
Mhm,
forget that you are a person too, and you need some dreams, and you need to cast a vision for your family, not only for
mhm.
you, but cast a vision for your family. What do you
Right.
want your children to do, Manisha?
Mhm,
I mean, this is another podcast, but what do you want them to be? Have you taught
mhm,
them what a pediatrician is? Have you taught them what to do? Cast a vision for
mhm.
yourself and for your family.
Right.
Okay. And how do you
Exactly.
do that? Step one, write it down. What do you want
Write
to do?
it down.
Write it
That's gonna be
down.
our saying. Write it down.
Yeah, write it down. Step
Get
two,
a notebook, a piece of paper, write
it
it
don't
down. Yeah.
matter. I have a notebook for every section of my life.
Mhm,
I listen to Tiffany Montgomery and I listen to TD Jakes, and both of those are multimillionaires. And that are important to me because what do I want to be? I want to be a multimillionaire. So I found somebody that I can model myself after to become who I want to become,
mhm.
right? And they preach and they teach me how to do that slowly. And then I have Nisha that says, now that you're here on our level, how about you print it out and pay your bills before the due date, you know? And I honestly that I just wrote it down. I just write a print off a checklist because that would probably be helpful for me, being that all that's going through my head is I want a nap. I have to get ready for work. I have to meal prep. Write it down. A
Mhm,
checklist would be perfect for my life right now. And I'm realizing the importance of the organization because with writing it down in organization, you then get rid of procrastination. You then get rid
mhm,
of the overwhelming and the anxiety because now you can see yourself doing these things. You can see
mhm,
yourself in the next space of your life. You're
mhm,
saying, I can do this. This
mhm. You're
this is
taking
this
back
is
that
obtainable.
control. You're taking
Yeah.
back that control because that's what that anxiety is. Anxiety is that you feel like you've lost control, like
Yes.
you're overwhelmed and it's chaotic and it's just chaos and you just, and that's scary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what that fear is. So when you take charge and you prepare, you organize and you do those actions to take back that control, your anxiety will subside from there. And
Right.
and it just involves taking baby steps. Like, it's not
Baby
going to
steps.
happen all overnight. You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
like, imagine, you having to clean your house. Like, I don't know if y'all watch the show Hoarders. I don't know. Like, this just came up to me. That show Hoarders. Like, I don't
Them
know. That
roaches
that's
be
a guilty
everywhere.
it's a guilty pleasure in a way,
I love that
watching that show.
show, but it's
But
sometimes I be like, "How?"
Oh,
Okay, I'm
it
focused.
breaks my heart too sometimes, like,
Well,
some
it's
of
a
those
mental thing
episodes.
for
It
sure.
is, it's a mental thing, like, I'm a big crybaby when I be watching shows like that, but
I ain't never cried.
I
I've
do. Oh
never
my gosh,
cried.
600-pound life. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. Like,
now
me and
see, I
my daughter, like, we be in here and we be like, "Oh my god, look how much weight she lost." Look, I'm tearing up now thinking about people, like,
aw, look, I ain't
but,
never that's
yes, like,
never been a
oh, like,
tearjerker.
I love that stuff. It's inspirational. It's so amazing how those people can, get on TV and tell their
It is
stories. So,
inspiration. But
kudos to
they
them.
get over their fear, y'all. I
Yeah,
mean, on
they
my
do.
600
They
pound
get
life,
everything.
they have to be, we're sitting over here judging them. Like, how do you get
Mhm.
there? Which is really
Right.
not that hard. Just go eat today
Right. Like,
and
you're
see
like
how
you're
the scale
doing the
moves.
same thing. If you really think
Right.
about it, you're just doing it on a micro level. If you're sitting there eating the same thing they eating.
Watching the show. Watching the show, you're like, man, how they do that? And got ice cream and popcorn and pizza in your hand. But
Right,
okay, back to
exactly.
hoarders. Back to
But
hoarders.
yeah, so back to the hoarders, right? And I'm talking about, like, organizing your life. They start with one room, and with those people with the disorder with hoarding, like, it takes a lot out of them. So, like, they have to bring in one thing at a time, taking things out of the house and be like, okay, look at this item, do you need this? And even those little steps that they have to take, but those steps are necessary. And don't feel bad if you have to start in that one little corner and just pick up those newspapers in that one corner. That's
Right.
one step towards
Right.
getting the rest of the room done. Just don't
Right.
stop there, just keep going, and before you know it, you'll have that room cleaned, and then you can move to the next room, and the whole house to be clean. So I know that's like an extreme example
No,
of hoarding,
but I mean,
but
some of
even
our
in your own
situations
home.
are extreme, you know?
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah,
Right. And
I feel
go ahead.
no, I feel like
Mhm.
some of our situations are extreme, you know, whether
Mhm.
we want to admit it or not. The last 6 years of my life have been single momming, and to me, I think that that episode or many episodes of Hoarders explained my life. I had chaos everywhere I looked. You know, it was new for me. It was
Mhm.
and I had to start with a little bit at a time. That's all I could handle. Like I said, my first anxiety attack, trying to figure out what room do I start in my life? You know, where do I start? Do I start with healing myself, or do I start with changing the baby diaper? You know, like it's a lot.
Right.
It was a lot because I was every
Yeah.
woman. I didn't even have time sometimes to wash my own behind, you know.
Mhm.
So where do you start? That was an extreme situation.
Mhm.
Becoming married to divorced and doing it
Mhm.
all on my own. So I
Right.
think that the episode definitely parallels to what we're talking about. Life can
Mhm.
be that chaotic sometimes. It can be
Mhm.
that overwhelming, especially when you're called to do like Proverbs 31 kind of woman, and you're called to do all things, you know, and we all are actually, whether you want to tap into it or not.
Mhm.
Are you called into multiple things? Your life feels like hoarders. You know,
Mhm.
you feel like, I don't know where
Everything's
to
piling
start.
up on you. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. And then,
Where
like,
do I start?
if you don't do anything, it just keeps building on and building on, you know what I mean?
It keeps
Like, you ask
building.
yourself, like, "Oh my gosh, like, how could those people let their house get like that?" It
Right.
was, procrastination, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Just not
And it's not that hard
knowing,
to do.
where to move, or just not even not knowing where to move, is just not moving at all, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And letting the things just pile on top. And, your life can become that. And that is what escapism can do if you're just, in your mind and not putting any action towards it. Things are just going to pile up on you.
Right.
And then it's going to get way too overwhelming. And then you're really going to be like, oh my gosh. But even if it gets to the point where it's just like so overwhelming, just
Take a step
know
back.
that, yeah, just take a step back and just take a
Breathe.
little bite out of it at a time. Just pick one thing and do that. And then the
Yep.
next day, add on to
A
it. And
little
then
bit
before you
more.
know it, like, your machine is well oiled and running again.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And so to attest to that, like my life, so writing the book, so a book, I have The Gift of Divorce. It'll be out. I'm supposed to be headed to editing soon. So hopefully that is in. I know y'all, but I'm saying like, and then I want to go to school. I want to go back to school. And so these are visions that I've had for several years. I've been divorced for 6 years and I've had these visions, but allowing that to pile up only created me not to want to do anything. You know, there were days where I'm like, I couldn't work on that book if I tried, but that's just because I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I don't know where to start. You know, I don't know where to start a business. Like I had a business I wanted to birth. I want to go to school because that's my personal, like, it's like that's what I enjoy. I enjoy studying, which explains our character. You like to research, I like to study. That's really
Mhm.
kind of different.
Yeah.
Look at me, kind of, but you know, just being able to dig through all of that, and now I'm on the other side. I found a way to bite off a little bit at a time of the book, and I found a way to go to school and take one class at a time, and I found a way to not let so much of the chaos at home bother me. You know, I kind of had to step back a little bit on that. But now that anxiety is, it's like it's kind of non-existent, you know. And of course, prayer time, spending that prayer.
Mhm.
Y'all, I break down, I swear, sometimes once a week, okay? But still getting up and saying, let me bite off a little bit more of that task. Let me bite off a little
Mhm.
bit more. Let me write this down. Maybe I need to revisit, you know, and even a to-do list is this phone right here. It's that's the prayer of Jabez that I have. We'll talk about that in another one. But that phone right there is your best friend. Write down your to-do list. Write down things, because you ain't got time for to-do lists. Your phone can do that. What
Mhm.
you need in your mind is your vision and what you want to do and what's next on the list. Get all that stuff out of your head, so that you can focus on what's more important, building the business, or going to school, or listening to your kids while they talk. I mean, write your
Yeah.
stuff down. Write your
Yes,
stuff down.
that's definitely gonna be a topic for next week.
Yes, we're gonna talk about that, y'all. We're gonna talk
Mhm.
about the patience and what does it take to kind of. My daughter's 10, and she's like wanting to talk more. She's like, and look, I'm rocking back and forth now because
Just thinking about
y'all,
it.
yes, you have to really like um it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of how God sees us, like we're his babies, and our babies are the same. It's just like that stuff is not important, and you're like, but it's important to her.
Mhm.
It's her world, so it
Right.
means everything. So I
Mhm.
have to go down to that kitty level, that childlike level, and I'm like,
Like, yay, that's great for the
right.
811th time you
Right,
told me
right,
that story.
right. So we and you have to pretend like they never told you it,
Mhm.
for their
Yeah.
mental health. But okay, y'all, that's for next week. We're
That's
gonna talk about that
next
because I
week,
think that's
yeah.
good. I think that's good. I want to know how many of y'all zone out. Okay, like what's
Mhm.
happening here? How do we get through this? But anyways, back to the topic at hand, y'all. We want to come out of a world of Facebook, Instagram, and likes, and come back down to what is really happening in your life, and really you're dealing with your reality. We're not going to use escapism to as a coping mechanism. We're not going to do that. We're going to come back down, and we're going to manifest whatsoever we desire. And that's scripture, y'all. We are powerful. God left us the power to do all things. So
Mhm.
why you ain't using your power? Why
Mhm.
aren't you using what he left us, what he died for us to do?
Mhm.
All right, write it down, organize, and that will prevent procrastination. And what
Mhm.
about perfection?
Talk about perfection. Yeah,
Yeah,
so with perfection, it's like you are waiting for the right time to do something, or
right,
you have a vision of something that you of how you want it. Like, I know for me, that's one thing that I struggle with is perfection. A lot of times, like, I see how I want something to be, and it's just like I want it like this. It has to be
right,
like that. And then sometimes if I can envision something and I'm like, okay, but with my resources I have now, I'm not going to be able to do it
right.
like that. And that makes me procrastinate on it.
Yeah,
That makes me like not move and say, okay, I'm just going to take the first step towards, because I feel like I've got to have all the steps in place and it needs to fit just like this.
yeah,
And that, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
that can make you procrastinate and not move forward with things.
yeah.
So,
It can.
nothing in life is perfect. Nothing is
It's
perfect.
not. It's not required.
And what God wants us to do is just take those steps forward. Like, you are going to manifest that goal
You
you
will.
have. You
You
will do
can.
it, but
You
you
will and
have
you can.
to take the steps in order to get there. You
Yes.
can't get to point B if you don't walk away from point A. Like,
No,
it's just physically impossible.
it
So
is.
you just have to move. Like, that's just one thing that I
Move.
say a lot too, is just move,
Yeah.
like,
And
if
that
if
could
I find myself like in my mind thinking like, okay, I want to do this, or da 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 da, my brain is just moving. I'll just quiet myself and just say, move, just do something.
something. Yes.
Right.
Same. Same. Just do
Mhm.
something. And before you know it, you'll be on worked it out. And like she said, you'll get the oil on that machine going, and you'll be on worked out that perfection, because the podcast wasn't birthed because of, like she said, we were having or I was worried about resources. I was worried about who to help me. I was worried about how it would look. And I just finally got the ball rolling, and God has just showed up and showed out, you know? So it's just like whatever I put my hands to is blessed, and only because I believed and I took that step. But how would I ever have known, you know?
Mhm.
So just taking that step and saying it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, you know, because you'll learn. You'll learn. It's just like a new job, y'all. Just like when you go to work for the first time, whether it's McDonald's or a physician, when you go to work for the first time, you have not a clue what's going on. You don't know how to take them orders. You don't know how to do that. You know, you're like, I don't
Mhm.
know where that button is. But over
Mhm.
time, you don't even have to look. Just like when you're typing on the keyboard, you don't even have to look. You know where that button is. So over time, you will learn how to get these things correct. And
Mhm.
travel new territory, but that's another conversation. I don't want to get into that too, because once you get the hang of chapter 35, here comes chapter 36 in your life, and you're like, I can't keep up.
You just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
Y'all, for real. I'm
You
for
just gotta keep
real.
going. Yeah.
She she ain't lying. Ain't nothing lies here. Like we're trying to
Yeah.
share real life and writing it
Real
down.
life.
I think you talked about 2016 or 2018. I keep trying to take you
Uh-huh.
back to 2016, girl.
Oh, yeah, 2018. Oh, my my needs and wants. So, back in 2018, I wrote a list. Well, I wrote 2 lists on one piece of paper. It was a list of things that I wanted and a list of things that I needed. And it was, the things that I needed were simple things like, getting socks for the kids or getting windshield wipers for my car.
Right.
It was just like little stuff like that. And
Legitimate stuff.
right. And then on the other side was things that I wanted. Like I wanted my Toyota Highlander, I wanted a 2,500 square foot home with 5 bedrooms, um and a list of other things that I wanted on there. And
Right.
and I checked everything off on that list a few years ago. And like, I still, go back and look at that list and, like, I
Amaze
get
yourself.
emotional because it's like, I was able to check everything off. Like, it took me, a couple years
Take
to
some
get
time.
to get there. It took time, but I was able to check everything off. And my reason for having a needs and want list was that I wouldn't get so caught up in one over the other. So I
Right.
didn't get caught up in just surviving with the things that I needed, but I also would reward myself with the things that I wanted, and I didn't
Yeah.
focus on everything that I wanted without getting things that I needed.
Yeah.
So it was also to help bring balance into my
Mhm.
life and for my family as well. So
Now
so
I'm
yeah.
getting emotional. I'm over here like, yes, what she said. Yes,
Mhm.
you'll look back and you'll be shocked. I am the true beneficiary of writing it down and adding scripture to what did
Mhm.
God say I can do and what can I get done. Nisha's more like logical. She's just like, yeah, we can do it. And I'm like,
Mhm.
wait, no, like show me how. So but I'm the
Mhm.
beneficiary of that. I had my first home was 1,500 square feet, and I was just like you. I'm like 3 kids and my future husband. This is not adequate. This is not where I envision myself. This is beautiful, but I took care of that home like it was my multi-million dollar home. You know, that meant
Mhm.
it meant everything to me. I was very grateful. I had a very grateful heart for it, but I knew that wasn't it. So
Mhm.
I began to write down what was my next home. And y'all, I literally just closed on that one.
Mhm.
So I began to write down what is my next goal? What do I want in my next home? Because this is not quite it. I'm almost there, but not quite. And I began
Right.
to write down steps in that. And so what did those steps look like? You know, the first step was, can I see myself in a bigger home? Can I see myself in a 2,500 square foot home? Can I see myself with an upstairs and a downstairs? So those things had to begin to rest in my heart that yes, I can see myself there. Yes,
Mhm.
I can do it. Yes, I can do mommy's podcast. You know, yes, I can be an RN. Yes,
Mhm.
I can do those things. You have to let it rest. Yes, I can be a wife again. But they have to begin to rest in your heart first. They have to begin to rest in your heart first, y'all. It's so terrifying.
Right.
I'll tell you, it's so terrifying because you don't want, because of rejection,
Mhm,
because of fear. You don't
mhm,
want to fail. You don't,
right,
and that's the ultimate thing of all of this. You don't want to fail. But like Nisha said, after writing it down and taking some steps and budgeting and working and going off to work when I didn't want to go because I had a vision.
mhm,
And everybody's like, "You're leaving your kids? How could you do that?" I had a vision. I didn't need
mhm,
nobody. I have a vision. And I
mhm.
knew what it took to get to that vision. So yes, I have to leave them for now. The sacrifice is for now. And now we have the 2,500 square feet. And sometimes I'm looking like, what did I do?
What did I get myself into? This is
What
a
did
lot of
I
space to
do?
clean.
And I'm like, dang, yes, it's so much space to clean. It's so much, the responsibility, just like the house, is bigger, you know?
Mhm.
And my dad said something to me, and I think that has helped me so much. He said, I said, Daddy, I don't even know how I got here, you know, and I can look back on my notes and things. And he says, baby, it don't matter how you got there, just figure out how to stay. And I
Yes.
was
Oh.
like, okay. Okay.
Yes,
You
those
know,
are gems. That's a gem right
yes,
there.
that
Yeah.
was that
Mhm.
spoke to my soul. That'll speak to my soul for the rest of my life, you know. And that's what we want your life to do. We want you to look back and say, "Oh my gosh, I did it." You know,
Mhm.
I wrote it down. I envisioned myself there, and I manifested. I came out of escapism. I came out of that false reality and back into manifesting here. I'm not
Mhm.
manifesting on Facebook. And y'all, shut up.
Mhm.
Stop telling these people your dreams, okay? Like, not
Right.
one time did I post, um, I'm finna have 2,500 square feet. I might post something subliminal, but
Yeah, I
everybody's
didn't
not
say
for you.
anything because it's
Yeah,
not for
it
anybody else. They're
no.
my dreams, you know what I mean? And
Yes,
I am going to be the one to fulfill them. So I don't need to tell you those. And
no.
and sometimes
Privacy, y'all.
other people, they can be killers. They try to be killers of dreams, you know what I mean? Like,
AK-47 it.
yeah.
Even on a baby name. Think about how
Yeah.
many times you said something about a baby name. I got 3 kids, and
Mm.
I got real smart real quick. Like, you'll tell them your baby name, and they'll be like, "Well, that one's okay." You're like,
Mhm.
"That's been the dream my whole life," you know?
Right.
But they'll try to deter you on your
Mhm.
baby's name. So think about
Mhm.
it in the same manner. This is
Right.
your baby. Just like Nisha said, it's your baby.
It sure is.
Do
Right.
what you need to do. This is your
Mhm.
baby. But y'all, this is good.
It is.
I know. I'm like,
I know. What's so funny is, we're gonna be completely transparent here. So, like,
I was
we
about
are
to.
doing something like, new. Like, we had the first podcast, we had to, regroup and redo some things, and that's what we're
Yes.
doing now. We're on new software, trying, we're figuring this thing out as we go.
Yes.
We are just taking those steps, and we recorded this show
That's what.
already. So, but it was we had some technical difficulties and we got to
Yes.
the end and we were like, oh crap.
Yo, your girl on here sharing personal info. Okay. Like, I don't put personal info. I don't show y'all 3 times. Like, I was like, here go personal info. And I'm like, sis, I don't put personal info on the podcast.
Right.
Like, so we had to re-record. And look what,
Yeah.
even re-recording it, look what we birthed. This is
Hmm.
better than the first one. I wish I could show
Yeah.
y'all the first one, but honestly, this is better. And we're both looking
It
like
is.
we gotta record the whole thing.
I know.
But this
And
turned out so
it's
much better.
hilarious because like we talk all the time and we're like, okay, because when we talk about stuff, I know it's hard for me to like repeat myself. I'm not like a
Yes.
person that I can repeat myself. Like
Me neither.
if I'm sitting there talking to you and like if say I say something that's like real good, it was like a gem, and you be like, yeah, girl, say it again. I'd be like, what? Like,
Like,
I
what
don't
I
know.
say?
Be like, you
What did
gotta
I
tell
say?
me. Like, I feel it. Like I'm a person that, I feel
Yes.
the emotion. So like, if I'm talking with you, you say something great, like I may not remember what you said verbatim, but I felt what you said.
Yes. I
You
feel
know
it.
what I mean? So
Right.
it's funny, like, so having to like go through this again
It
is hilarious because
yes.
it's like it's the same conversation, but like just the experiences that we've shared,
Right.
just everything that we share
Right.
is just like it just grew on itself. And oh my
Yes.
gosh, this is great. It's
This is
hilarious.
I was trying not to tell y'all. I was like, I ain't finna tell them. See, I look, we're hiding that this is a redo. That's why
Right,
you can't trust
exactly.
nobody. Trust no
Exactly.
one.
This
You
is real
know,
life over
it's
here. This
real
is real life.
life.
And I'm
It's
all
real life.
about real life, like,
Me
like
too.
somebody said, like, she's a private person. I am probably, like, the most private
Y'all,
person, like
Nisha will jump off the side of the earth and you be like, sister,
it's like,
are you
"Where'd you
over there?
go?"
Where are
Right.
you? And that girl, I mean, and she be over there doing great things, but I'm like, where
Mhm.
are you? Or she be Netflix, and I
Yeah.
don't know because
It'd be a
she's
combination
missing.
of both. Like, now
She's
there was a
missing.
couple years of my life I did not watch TV at all. It was probably like a good
Same.
3 years, maybe even longer.
Just
I think even
busy.
longer, maybe 3 or 5 years. I did not watch TV. I could not sit down. Like, there was something in me, like, I could not sit down, and
Right.
that was, like, my go time, and that's when I was, just very productive in what I was doing. I had vision, I had goals, I
Right.
had my children I was raised, I had my family, and that was just when God told me, like, you gotta move," and I just that's all I did. I was moving and shaking and just doing everything, and
Yeah.
now now it's Netflix time.
Right.
I'll be
Right.
like,
You're like,
"Okay," I've caught back up, you know what I mean? Because
same.
there's a season for it all. There's a
There.
season to
Oh,
work your ass
yeah.
off, there's a season to, rest, relax, and restore, and then there's a season to get back going. But
Right. Sorry,
you
y'all. It's
don't
raining. But
stop.
yes,
You
don't
just
stop.
don't stop,
Don't stop. Don't stop.
You
And
may
that's the
slow
take
down a
home.
little bit, but you don't stop.
Don't. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be worth it in the end. And we're going to look back and we're going to be 50 and we're going to appreciate the work and the sacrifices that have been made to get to each level. And there's a different requirement for each level, but that's a whole nother topic. We're going to stay on that escapism and
Mhm.
for creating your reality. Step one, write it down. Step two, organize, so that you can prevent things like fear, rejection, and perfection and procrastination. And so you're just with writing it down and organizing, you're casting that vision for your life. You're casting that vision for your family so that you can manifest and get out of escapism.
Mhm.
Next week, we're going to talk about the children. We're going to talk about listening and honing in and trying not to zone out when they talk. And then I think the week after, I don't know, maybe we'll kind of see. Like, subscribe, share.
Yes.
And I think Nisha said it really best is like, we want to hear your
Mhm.
comments, like
Yeah.
comments, whatever.
Comment, let us know,
Let us
what's
know
on
if
your
you want to talk
mind,
about something.
like, I mean, because we're here, we're gonna do our thing. We're gonna talk about what's on our mind regardless.
Regardless.
Regardless, you know what I mean? Because this is Mommy's podcast and we are the moms here. I'm just kidding.
Mhm.
But,
Period.
we do wanna hear from you guys because
We do.
we're here for you, we
We
wanna
are.
give the light that we have in us and give to you, and we want to receive
Yes.
the light that you have within you, and we wanna talk about those things and discuss them and, help each other out. Each one teach one.
Yes. Y'all, we such old souls, but I
Mhm.
mean, we just want that sisterhood. We want that community. We want us to lift each other up. We wanna let your sister win. If your sister winning, you
Mhm.
winning. I think is
Yes.
how Nisha worded it, and that touched my soul. That was a gem too. If my
Yeah.
sister
I told you
winning,
I
I'm
can't
winning.
relate. That's it.
Right? I can't. I'm like a recorder over here. I told y'all I like to study. I love to study. I study people. I study the word. I study my children. That's why it takes me so long to catch on because I have to study you. I
Mhm.
don't. I'd be like on first contact. You might treat me, but I'm gonna study you. And I'm gonna get you.
Mhm.
I promise. I'll
Right.
have you down here in a second. But the first.
Mhm.
But all right. We'll see y'all next week. We're
Yes.
glad to be back.
Ah,
We're back
thank you,
at it, and don't
guys.
let perfection stop y'all, okay? Write it down,
Yes.
organize, and cast the vision for your life, okay? With
Yes.
anything,
Mhm.
with God, all things are possible. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Alright, bye.